Welcome back for part 2 of Kengan Ashura chapters 112 through 116. Prepare yourself for the exciting conclusion of this battle, but first a word from our sponsor. As all anime fans know, the Kengan tournament is sponsored by the No-Gi Group, but this video is sponsored by NoGiBJJGear.com, makers of shorts, spats, and rash guards. Use my code RAMSEY10 for a 10% discount on sweet rash guards like this and everything at NoGiBJJGear.com. Link in the description below. Now on with the fight. He's not cooperating. This was Okubo Naoya's greatest forte. As its name suggests, mixed martial arts is a martial art which combines every means of attack, blows, throws, holds, and locks, meaning that its attacks are ever-changing. Blows, throws, holds, and locks. Agito's martial arts techniques exceed Okubo's in every area. Does that mean that Okubo has no means of defeating Agito? No! If individual techniques are not enough, he would use a synthesis. If Agito wanted an exchange of blows, he would respond with a grapple. If Agito wanted a ground fight, he would respond with a standing fight. He would never cooperate with Agito in an effort to throw off his pace. Blow to throw! Throw to hold! You are no match for my flexibility. Grapple to throw! Throw to blow! Whoa! Right in the face! Is he dead? Is the Fang dead? Has it finally happened? Has the Fang finally lost?
What the hell are you doing? Don't give him any breaks, Okubo. The match isn't over yet. You're up against the boss of the monsters. You can never drop your guard against him. Okubo! Okubo!
No, Himuro, I ain't dropping my guard. That last soccer ball kick was one I never used ever since I nearly killed my first opponent with it. But with that blow, I kicked him with all my strength, just like I did that time. I knew it. I thought it was weird that I didn't feel any resistance. What's so funny? Come on now. I can see your face on the monitor. So, you want another round? If he's able to stand up after taking that, he must have evaded that blow after all. He went limp at the moment of impact in order to disperse the shock, which means he's adapting to my attacks. Nobody's ever been able to adapt to me when I get serious. Ha! Ha! This is fun as hell. You don't get to fight someone like this every day. Huh? He's fast. Gotta grab him. Oh, he predicted my move. Evade to grapple now. I must thank you, Okubo Naoya. I have become stronger yet again, all thanks to you. Is it over? It's over! It's over! The absolute champion of mixed martial arts, Okubo Naoya, goes down. The winner of the public versus underground show is the Fang of Metsudo, Kano Agito! Agito's true merit is in evolution, and it looks like he's gained another level in this match. Ramsey Dewey and Dewey Parker. Whoa. Let's talk about Kengan Ashura. The fight scene we just broke down. We made a live action version of the manga. Andrew, what was your experience like doing this live action version?
Well, it was fun doing it. I think it was obviously a very dramatic take on what an MMA fight could be.
Yeah.
I know that people suggested this fight to you because they said it was very accurate.
Yeah.
And I think there were like some small pieces of it that were accurate, but once you put them together, I was like, that would not happen that way.
After this, I'm going to take a look at the animated version they made of this manga, which is different from what I've been told, and obviously it would have to be different to look realistic, because when you literally interpret the manga, it looks kind of goofy, again, with all the eyeballs, the monologuing,
Yeah.
which, you don't have time to talk in a fight. You just don't. At least not like an extended monologue. There were a few famous examples like Muhammad Ali versus George Foreman. When they fought, they clinched up in the corner. After 10 rounds, Ali shouted in Foreman's ear, "Is that all you got? Is that all you got?" I mean, that's about all the time you have for monologuing in a fight.
Especially if it's an exciting fight. There have been some boring fights in the UFC where guys are doing more talking than fighting. But something like this, where the guys are beating the crap out of each other, there's no time to chat, definitely.
Yeah. So this second half of the fight scene that we filmed is a lot more chatty than the first. There was a little bit of talking in the first, like, oh, he's so powerful, whatever. But this time, I mean, Okubo is standing over his opponent, who has effectively been knocked out, TKO'd. He's on the ground. He's not getting back up for a meaningful amount of time. Okay, any good referee would stop that fight immediately. He's brain damaged. He's comatose at this point. And Okubo is like, that was too easy. And he's having this intense internal monologue while his opponent is down for what appears to be at least 30 seconds.
But I think these guys are superhuman in every way, because the strength, unbelievable. Like people are going flying all over the place. People are getting skull fractures from, a punch from sprawl position. And like, they're also superhuman with mental agility. All right, you got time to stop and have a flashback in the middle of the fight? That's another level that we're not on.
It would have to be, man. It would have to be. Now, I think Okubo is supposed to be a normal human. Like, I don't think he has superpowers. He's just like one of the world's greatest MMA fighters in his story.
I don't believe it.
I did take a look at some of the other fights, and some of them seemed to have supernatural powers, like I don't know, they like tapped into their chi or something like that, or there was this one guy who had blades coming out of his arms. There was this one guy who had like prehensile hair he could control and like grab his opponents with, strangle them with his hair. So obviously this whole comic is not based in the realm of reality. We're definitely dealing with some meta-humans here. I don't know if Agito is supposed to be superhuman or if he's just supposed to be a really tough guy though. Because we definitely have some of both in the Kengan Ashura universe. So, yeah, nerds at home, tell us exactly, are these superhumans in this fight? Is Agito just a tough guy, or does he have some powers we don't know about? Any other thoughts about the fight choreography? Anything that really stood out?
Well, another thing, the stamina of these guys too, because I was really impressed. Like you said, they got totally beat up, and then they were still able to pull off like incredible, huge moves. But of course, there's not going to be any boring, 1-2, 1-2 in a manga. That's not fun to read or look at.
Yeah, I think this type of storytelling through a fight scene is really, really common. We see it in movies like Rocky, the Rocky sequels, and pretty much every movie that came after Rocky, where one or both of the protagonists of the fighters just get the snot beaten out of them to the point where they're basically comatose, and then they make an amazing Rocky-like comeback. And in real life, it doesn't work like that. If you're being beaten so badly that you're basically unconscious, the fight ends. That's a knockout. If you are on the receiving end of a beating and it's just so bad and you're not defending himself, for example, when Agito is on the ground, he's just being swarmed with punches in the mouth, like he's not defending himself, and Okubo points it out in his internal monologue. Why isn't he defending himself? And he's just taking it on the guard. In a real fight, that's called a technical knockout. If you're not intelligently defending yourself, it's a technical knockout. So this is one of the big disservices movies and stories like this do to people who are inspired to go learn how to fight. They develop this mindset of, oh, I can take way more damage than I really can. And the fact is you can't. And you might argue that, well, to make the story more interesting, we have to have these extremely dramatic, unrealistic types of damage being dealt. But I think you just need to educate the viewers through your storytelling about what good fighting is. I mean, take for example, did you see that Kevin James movie, Here Comes the Bang?
Here comes the boom.
The boom, that's
Yeah.
it. Here comes the boom. Okay.
Yeah.
Now,
I saw that.
it's not the
Jason
most
Miller.
technical example of storytelling, but it's a great example of how to educate your audience on something technical they might not otherwise understand. So throughout the whole movie, Kevin James' character is learning about the Kimura. It's a shoulder lock, right? You break the shoulder with it. It's a submission. And, you know, a casual person who doesn't train in Jiu-jitsu, they're not going to know what a Kimura is. And so throughout the movie, they have several scenes dedicated to educating the audience. This is the Kimura. It's dangerous. If they catch you in this move, it's over. And they also show you a defense against the Kimura. Not the best defense, but a defense. If he grips his hands together, he'll make it tough for the other guy to finish the move. And then in the dramatic conclusion of the movie, spoiler alert, right? Kevin James' character is caught with the Kimura. He grips his hands together to stop it. And the audience is educated in that move. They're like, oh, there's the dangerous move. There's the defense. That's why it didn't work. That's why he was in danger. Okay? As opposed to just showing, relying on what the audience already knows, getting hit really hard hurts. Anyway, I just think there are better ways to tell a story through action.
It would help with fans arguing against early stoppages too. Like I see that a lot of people are like, he was still conscious, he was
Yes.
still moving. But would things have really changed if the ref, kept the fight going? Probably not. He was just turtled up and taking unnecessary damage. So that's the ref's job, try to save it from that.
Yeah.
Or her.
I made a whole video about this topic recently about why it's okay to tap to a submission and why people boo and get upset when fighters tap to strikes. There's like this unspoken rule, like it's not okay to tap to strikes. I mean, you can, it's legal, it's not a foul to tap to strikes. But for some reason, there's this super macho idea that you just don't tap to strikes. It's not okay. If you do, you're a wimp. Even though those strikes are doing very, very real damage, and if the fight isn't stopped and you're not intelligently defending yourself, you could physically die. But yeah, it's what the audience is trained in. Like, we're trained in the idea, oh, he's caught in the armbar, he's caught in the submission, we have to tap out. But because we watch all of these movies where these guys can take these unreal amounts of damage, get smacked over the back of the head with a lead pipe and just shrug it off like it's nothing, we're trained in this narrative that, yeah, getting hit isn't that big of a deal.
So you're saying there's something we can learn from Bob Sapp's career?
Yes. Oh, absolutely, man. Bob Sapp's career, like right now, people who watch Bob Sapp's last few fights, they're like, oh, Bob Sapp sucks, but watch his early career. I mean, this guy beat Ernesto Hoost, and you might say, well, it's just because he was big. Okay, yeah, but Bob Sapp he was big in those fights that he lost too, right? But he took a lot of damage over the course of his career, And he got to the point where, he didn't really want to take any more. I mean, there's a lot you can learn from that man's career about the negative effects of cumulative damage. How about the crazy leg scene?
I can't say any of these words. The crazy leg scene.
Yeah, so Okubo's doing like Master
stole the
Wong's
show.
version of the rear naked choke with his hand on top of the head, and there's all kinds of space to work with. And then Agito kicks his way out. He's apparently the world's most flexible man.
Yes.
Does like this crazy front snap instep over the shoulder kick. I think, you know what? Jean-Claude Van Damme did the same move in the movie Bloodsport.
So it is possible.
Well, the movie Bloodsport, man, I'm gonna have to put the shot up on the screen. But the bad guy Chong Li is standing behind, not attempting a choke or a grappling situation, anything like that. Chong Li's standing behind Frank Dukes, and Jean-Claude Van Damme playing Frank Dukes does a split kick, like almost like an axe kick backwards, sends his leg up, and the shin collides with Chong Li from behind. I don't even know if that's physically possible unless the guy's like leaning over your shoulder, way in front like that. But
Don't defend a rear naked choke with a head kick.
yeah, even if you're the world's most flexible man, even if you are a contortionist, that is, oh man, that's some nonsense right there. Just gonna put that out there. Trying to punch your way out of a rear naked choke, trying to kick your way, trying to strike your way out of a rear naked choke. You got to improve your position, or you're dead. I mean, it's that simple. Oh, one more thing. That shot at the end where Agito sprawls on Okubo and then throws like this short right hook, this end, and gives him a depressed skull fracture in the side of his head. Okay, that one's just kind of mind-boggling to me because he would have to have superpowers to do that. I actually do have a depressed skull fracture right here in my forehead, and I got that from my last professional fight. My opponent loaded his wraps. Like that's not something normal human hands can do without a little bit of help, or actually a lot of help. My opponent dropped his right hand from a standing position as I was down. I mean, he had a ton of momentum behind the strike. Whereas in the comic, Agito does it from just a short little clipping hook from the side in a sprawl control position. Like, even when we were doing the fight choreography, that was an awkward position to punch from.
Yeah.
I mean, Andrew, did you feel like you could have any meaningful amount of power from that position on a hook?
No, and it's definitely not a punch I would throw because my arms are totally busy with the sprawl control.
Yeah. Like, there's no space, and there's really no time to do it. So again, unless this guy has superhuman powers to be able to get so much tensile strength and speed from that position, and unless he has like rock hard fists, it's just not really gonna work. But yeah, depressed skull fractures, that's no joke. I had one, almost killed me. Man, that ended my career, gave me a blind spot in one eye. So I felt bad for Okubo getting the skull fracture in this one. He lives, if you watch or read the next chapter of the manga, he wakes up from his comatose state, he's alive, he ends up being okay, but yeah, it's a scary moment getting a skull fracture like that. Any final thoughts?
No, we'll just leave it on that positive note.
All right, thanks for watching. Now get out there and train.
You